First of all, I need to introduce myself. I'm Wedayila Nelson. I'm the delegate of Sulani clan in what we call Inzu Yamasaba. You know, Inzu Yamasaba has got three clans, major clans. We have got Mubuya, we have got Wanale, then Mwambu clan. So I come from Sulani clan of Mwambu, over Inzu Yamasaba. And during the second General Assembly of the late Bob Mushkori, I was elected the Speaker of the General Assembly of Inzu Yamasaba, which I held until we elected in a new Muguga, or rather the third Muguga. That election was a bit not quite straightforward. People were arguing that the election were not proper, but we conducted it and I led it in my capacity as the Speaker of Inzu Yamasaba, and we got Mr. Jude Mike Mudoma as the third Muguga. There has been some scuffle, there has been some confusion when Muguga was gazetted in around August 2023. I assumed the office. He appointed his deputies, of course, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers, and the cabinet of his ministers work with. Unfortunately, he did not go in for General Assembly. It appears he was not interested in the General Assembly. And yet it is the General Assembly that has got the delegates from all the clans of Masaba that ushered him in, that elected him to be. So the elders have been arguing and pursuing him, but he has been promising we are going to have a General Assembly, until some people were saying he wanted to resign. In fact, Ambassador Olimbo had talked of resigning because he was not feeling well, for working without a General Assembly, for working without being vetted by the General Assembly, such that he is streamlined so that he does his work well. He was not alone. Even some other ministers and prime ministers whom we reshuffled recently, it was because of the lack of a General Assembly, such that, so that some members were not happy. Me, I have been the member of his cabinet, but we were not happy. We are saying, no, let us get a General Assembly such that we are vetted and sworn in, such that we start to work well. So some elders, there is an elder, the chairman of the 26 clans of that form Inzu Yamasaba, Honorable Difas Wabuya from Mumbo clan, is the one actually who spearheaded the election of the Umuguga, or rather for vetting, when the government was needed to know who was exactly properly elected, because there was a group of John Wagabyalde, which claimed it was the one who was properly voted. Then there was a group of Mike Jude Mudoma. So now from there, it is the chairman of the 26 clans who came and verified that, then he reported it to Kampala. It's when Mike Jude Mudoma was now gazetted as the elected third Muguga. The recent reshuffle is actually was done by the person who was appointed, but with us we see that the reshuffle didn't have much meaning, because even the people he dropped had not been vetted by the General Assembly. And now, by so doing, he wanted to counter, because on that day the letter of reshuffle came out, that is 28th of December 2024. It was that very date which the Assembly delegates had converged at Baruku and sworn in. Then they elected the Speaker, that is me, Wedayila Nelson. Then somebody, deputy, is Mr. Karim Muliro from Sulani clan. So now it is upon that day he felt he was being undermined by the Prime Minister, because he had written a letter to Prime Minister to check the chairman of the 26 clans not to continue with the calling of the meeting of the General Assembly. But of course the Now the Prime Minister knew that it was illegal because we are under the constitution of Inzu Yamasaba, which he has been deposited by the Umuguga himself because he wants to work alone, he wants to work like a king, and yet with us we don't have kings, we have cultural leaders as per the constitution. The constitution of Inzu Yamasaba, the constitution of Uganda, and the Cultural Leaders Act of 2011, those laws created cultural leadership. They stipulates that any community in Uganda which wants to be governed culturally, they are free to elect their leader such that they can have their leader to be governed culturally and work with the government such that things can move well. But Mr. Jude Mudoma wants to be a king. With us, we didn't have a king. A king is born, as I hear, because a king is now like Buganda, like Toro, like Bunyoro, like Busoga. Those are born kings. But with us, we have never had that. Traditionally, the Yamasaba have what they call leaders, cultural leaders. Cultural leaders, Unyo Umuguga, the one who is respected by the people of the area. He guides the people, he doesn't rule them. So there must be a committee of elders that he works with, who are sent by the clan. But now that he has defied and removed the ministers, with us, those ministers he removed, that included actually me, we are going to work maybe parallel with him. We are not about to leave it. With us, we have been sworn in, we are going to work parallel if we also want to work until maybe government can now come in and settle and look at what Mudoma is doing, whether it is right or not. Because Mr. Mudoma was elected following the constitution of Inzu Yamasaba, which he now wants to depose, or rather he has deposed, he doesn't want to be associated with it. So that one alone, the dismissal of Prime Minister and the other officers, the other ministers, it was because they were defiant. They wanted the General Assembly in place, which he does not want. And with us, since we have been sworn in, we are going to work. And if now wants, we can also work, but I know he will be working illegally. He is working alone without a constitution he is following.